Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. So, alhamdulillah, I guess my last video kind of upset some brothers that I don't even know, that never been in a class with, like I don't even know them. They just watch my YouTube video. And, you know, some people know how to reach out to me on Instagram. And, you know, I guess they feel like I'm overcritical when it comes to the brothers, or like I'm trying to cater to sisters, and things like that. And I guess some things that I spoke of must have applied to him, but I don't know him. I don't know where he lives. I don't even know if he's in America. And feel like I have a little harshness towards African American Muslims. So just, you know, although we had our conversations, I do want to make it clear. And it may seem like I've moved away from classing and teaching and this and that, which I haven't. It's just Ramadan. So I just been coming in, just speaking on certain little things that I see that's affecting Muslim Ummah, the Muslim Ummah, and that things that we should try to work on moving forward. You know, the thing about Islam is supposed to make you better, not you remain the same and how you are and just say that Islam is your religion. And then when I speak on certain things, sometimes it be foreign to certain people because they never heard it, or they never heard it discussed in some type of manner, and it offends them. So my intentions is never to offend anybody. It's not even to, my intentions is not to come off like I'm perfect. But am I overly critical? No, I'm just, in my opinion, I'm not. I'm just being brutally honest. And like I say, with some of these classes, man, and I'm dealing with people that's in New York. So it's not, just because I'm talking, it don't mean that I'm just saying something about here. It be people in New York, Philly, Jersey, different areas in the South and the Midwest. And it's just a common thing amongst our people. So when you know what Islam is, you know what's not Islam. And so I'm going to speak on some of the things that I've just seen from Muslims in the media with a name that's famous during Ramadan. So like I seen a brother, he was doing a whole little talk basically about Big U, the Crip guy, one of the leaders of the Rolling 60 Crips. Big U Muslim. Big U has been Muslim for years. Now, I know he's Muslim, but he caters more to a Nation of Islam version. Quote unquote, black non-Arab version of Islam. And I'm saying this from things that I've heard him say over the years about Farrakhan and the Nation. You know, even one of his guys, man, when they got into it, the man was talking about how Big U was at his house eating pepperoni pizza and knew it was pork. And we talking about in the recent couple of years. But Big U is in the news because of him extorting celebrities. We're not going to put a guilty tag on him, but people who going to be honest about it, just because he Muslim, I'm not going to say he wasn't doing what they said he was doing. What they going to be able to prove is one thing. He got too many videos of him like they was filming a movie. And he pulled up on the movie set and he's on camera talking about if y'all don't check in, we gonna check all your equipment, we taking all your equipment and all this. I mean, he's on camera talking about it. But I've been known Big U was Muslim. But now that he's caught up in this federal RICO and all this stuff is coming out, you know, this is a display of Islam. Some of the people who caught up with him, they also Muslim. Some of the people that he was doing things to, they was also Muslim. But because we display this behavior of Islam and people who like look up to him, they think that stuff is what Islam is and they accept it, and these behaviors go unchecked. And then you have sisters who marry these brothers and they miseducate them. Not only him, the little situation with Sauce Walker, who just got shot up yesterday. Now keep in mind, this all during Ramadan. Who just got shot up yesterday, and the person who was with him got killed. Sauce Walker, Muslim. Yeah, he's Muslim. But they were showing all these videos what led to them being targeted, all in the club, kicking it, you know, all this big jury and counting all this money. But he's Muslim. And this is Ramadan. So they went to his room, to a place where he was staying after he got shot. And they got a video and he got his leg, he's showing where he shot in the leg and he all wrapped up, right? And he got some Muslims on the phone. And all you hear him talking about is, Wallahi, 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 Wallahi. Showing the phone, look, these some of my Islamic brothers right here. And then other people come in the room, Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam. But they in there still doing what they do. And then this dude is handing him some drinks, right? And he like, man, Wallahi, man, you saving my soul. And then when the man give him the very last drink, these different juices or whatever, he says, thank you, Jesus. But this is during Ramadan. This is the display and image of Islam that's being put out there that particular people is gravitating to. I seen a post where it's a group of brothers. It might be about 15 of them, maybe. And, you know, they all got on thobes and Salzar Kamises and, you know, some of it look a little dashiki, Africanish. But they all got on some type of garb that identifies them with Islam. You know, some got turbans, some kufis, some kefias, and they lined up to pray. But it's like 15 of them, and they just one line in the video. Not any that I seen anybody in the front leading them, and it's a field, so it's enough room. But they just one line of like 15 people, nobody leading the prayer. And some of them young, some of them might be teenagers. None of them look like they was over the age of 30. And you know, you could tell they from the street. So it's alhamdulillah. So one of them is calling the adhan. But the people in the comments is like, yo, dude mixing the adhan with the ikama. Like the words and the way he was doing it, he was messing the adhan up, but his voice was beautiful. And then the way they lining up and people like, why they standing like this? And this and the third. And there was one comment that caught my attention. One person said, man, them brothers must be from the Midwest. And that's the area I'm in. The Midwest. You know, they was doing a lot of things wrong. Alhamdulillah, yes, they Muslim. And people like, may Allah correct their sincerity. We know they happy to be Muslim and they trying. But they was doing a whole lot of things wrong. And they putting it on social media. And then what my point is, the perspective that I'm speaking from, I generally get, and these brothers was in Cleveland. They happen to be in Cleveland, Ohio. Right? So the perspective where I come from, generally down the way, I end up meeting these brothers through like a sister. A sister want to get married. Somebody might be, like it might be their blood sister, but Islamically, they don't have enough knowledge to be her wali. So they may contact me and be like, can you step in and, do the wakil part? I'm a wali, but Islamically, I don't know how to gauge the brother enough, this, that, and the third. But generally, they was either already in a relationship, they've already have some dealings. So just me personally, I don't do the whole process of we need 16 sit downs, 3 months worth of counseling, trying to give it enough time to fall apart, especially when these is people who are already dealing with each other. Because they're not going to stop dealing with each other to go through this process. And then people not putting their best foot forward through these processes sometimes, and they just perpetrate. So my point is, these brothers doing a lot of things wrong, but it looks cool. And then because they have on thobes, this and the third, now they got to deal with the Muslims who, in some form of an offshoot, some type of Islamic organization that's a business. Nation of Islam, INC. Moorish Science Temple of America, INC. Where their literature is copywritten and all this other stuff, and they come from other this. And now these brothers, now they got to deal with the individuals. Or y'all just see y'all out there like that because y'all trying to be Arabs. Y'all don't understand Islam. And the different things that they're going to have to deal with because they displayed themselves doing a whole bunch of wrong. You know what I'm saying? But when it said they was in, like when dude said, man, where them brothers from? Man, they must be from the Midwest. And he was right. And people coming in the comments like, yeah, they off the hook out there. Your Illinois, your Michigan, your Ohio's, your Missouris. Some of the things that you will see is baffling. It's baffling. And people see my videos, and because I'm speaking to this and speaking to these behaviors, because I want to see it changed. Because I know that's not real Islam, and people gravitating it because it's looking like a black street thing. And like I say, I generally meet these type of brothers, and some of them may have been in prison for 7 years. They took their shahada after being in prison 1 year, so they done learned a penitentiary gang, Nation of Islam, Moorish American version of Islam. But because this all they been around for 6 years, when they come home, they think they on the hawk. And now I come in to deal with them and a sister, and they may want to, the sister may feel like we need some classes and can we get together and do this, and then me or other brothers, we meet with them, and these brothers be confusing the sisters. This is just a reality, man. I'm not trying to be overcritical, and I deal with, like I say, the majority of my teachers is all foreigners. And I see their interactions with their families. But they're teachers, they're educators, so they carry the deen like they know it. So you see different things as opposed to this stuff that I'm seeing. It's Ramadan, and you see these Muslims, man, people every day, people coming and take their shahada with them, and they have these, and they showing it on Instagram and different social media sites. So it's alhamdulillah, but they have like Kevin Gates rap songs playing in the background, or they'll be all hugged up wishing each other happy birthdays in their thobes and all this. This isn't accurate. This isn't Islam, but it's what we're gravitating to, and we're spreading it. And then when a person like myself speak out against it, the Muslims start to feel some type of way. Now, when people knew Muslims, because like I say, I was also a new Muslim. I went through this phase. You know what I'm saying? Alhamdulillah, though, I was a teenager and in my early 20s and didn't have nobody around to learn from. So I recognize it. I understand it. I was that. So it ain't like I'm condemning them, but the same way somebody who was who had education was able to pull me to the side and be like, look, that doesn't lead to Jannah. These things lead to this. This leads to that. You need to get in some classrooms. You need to do this. You on some man-made. You on some Islam. You know what I'm saying? And because it tied me to black and my desires, because I could still be Muslim and do whatever I wanted. I could have girlfriends. I could still drink. I could smoke marijuana. Be in the clubs. Gamble, shooting dice and all this other stuff. Hustling. You know what I mean? Being unfaithful. And I could still do all of that and call myself Muslim. Because I had these excuses, see? So I recognize it. It's not that. So, I'm not trying to offend anybody. But like, if you feel like I'm speaking about something bad and it resonates in you and you feel like I'm talking about you, man, you need to take it to Allah and try to correct it. Not get mad at me. You know what I'm saying? Not get mad at me. So like, and may Allah guide me, but may Allah guide them young brothers, because I recognize that they trying. But a lot of times what I see is when somebody's educated enough to come in and teach them young brothers who I'm talking about, that these people was talking about on Instagram, like I'm telling you, man, it was about 15, maybe more. But they just had one prayer line like this. The person who leading the prayer was in the prayer line. That one line, like nobody in front, and then all of them lined up behind him. The brother calling the adhan wrong. Nobody's there, but his voice was beautiful. But nobody was correcting him, as if like they didn't know. And then there was a brother standing up doing like this, like he was in the form of trance, and they was like, hey, what's that dude doing with his hands? And then what I see, and to be honest with you, I haven't talked to them, but like some of these individuals who be like this, and we be in these classes and they be confusing these sisters, guess what they call themselves? Salafi. Yeah, I'm Salafi, man. I'm on the way to Salaf. You might talk to them young brothers, and the first thing they might tell you is that they Salafi. Yeah. Yes, man. So that's what I'm saying. And them brothers, you can see the confusion on them. Not a knock to them. How are they not going to confuse the women that's with them? How are they not? And then sometimes the sisters won't have the confusion. The sisters be straight. But then trying to follow up behind them and let them be their lead. This is one of the reasons why Muslim sisters aren't allowed to marry non-Muslim men. Because that natural thing in them, if they feeling protected and they feeling like they got this man, they have a natural inclination to fall up behind this person. So they might leave Islam to please that person. Or they might start falling off deen. And that's why, like, when sisters talk about a lot of sisters that start uncovering after their marriages end or they have a breakup and they start uncovering, they start dealing with kafir men because they're starting to try to cater to the guys that they like. So just like how a non-Muslim can pull them off, a Muslim with an incorrect understanding can also pull them off. And that's why I always stress it, and I say it all the time. Being wrong isn't the problem. Staying wrong is. And like them young brothers in that video, and then that might make some more people in their city look up to them because they look cool. It's definitely alhamdulillah. The problem is the majority of everything they was doing was wrong. And people all in the comments from different areas, and this is during Ramadan. Why they doing this? Why is that? This, that, and the third. I didn't make any comment at all. But I was like, that's how it is in the Midwest. It's like that in the South too. Not everywhere. But like when I come across Muslims, man, in the South and the Midwest, we got some splaining to do. You know what I'm saying? So it's not trying to be overly critical. It's heartbreaking. And like I said, with them brothers and some of them, a lot of the cases, they might be like that until they 50. They might never correct none of that. You know what I'm saying? They might never correct any of that. Especially with all of the whispers and the chatters. All y'all trying to be like the Arabs. All y'all don't, we don't do those masjids. We don't do this. We don't do that. You know, keeping them in the streets, keeping them this. And then they don't get firmly planted in the deen to the part where Islam affects their heart and they change internally. They just change externally. So the Islam, when you understand the 3 levels of Islam, right? The Islam, what you can see, you can see a difference in the look, but the Iman, what starts to make a person a movement, it isn't happening. And when you understand about the Ran and the black dots getting put on your heart and understanding major sins versus minor sins and kibr, they may end up becoming hard-hearted. Because black dots continue to be put on them and then they don't know how to make proper tawbah. Not saying they don't, but if when you don't think what you're doing is wrong, you don't make tawbah when you think you're right. And then when you just learning from this person said this, in jail we did this for 10 years, out here we did this, and then, you know, the gang guys, you know what I'm saying? And Kevin Gates this, and Sauce Walker this, and Moneybag Yo, and Little Dirk and all this. You know what I'm saying? Even, and I'm not trying to say this to criticize them, but even some of the Muslims that I know in this city, that been Muslims, man, since they was 14, 15, 16 years old. Feds just came and got them during Ramadan. And by me knowing them, knowing some of them, right now, while they in that jail cell, they thinking about how they should have been fasting, how they should have been going to the masjid, how they shouldn't have been sitting around and turning up in jewelry and traveling in hoop line and kicking the bobos and all type of other little corrupt stuff they doing, cheating other Muslims, serving other Muslims all during Ramadan. But once them cups come off and you gotta walk to your cell, they gonna remember Allah then, see. And me knowing, like I say, and me knowing some of these people, they're gonna confuse the women in their lives. How can they not? So like I say, and some people try to feel some type of way, man. Hey, man, that stuff ain't Islam, man. I don't care how you cut it up. And yeah, some people who new to the deen, they need some time to grow. But man, we talking about people been Muslim 10, 15, 20 years. Who want to see the same thing happen to these young brothers? These young brothers, teenagers in their early 20s, not one elder around. They calling the adhan wrong, messing up the words with the iqama. The way they lined up, some of the little stances and some of the things that they doing, and who want to see them be like that for the next 30 years? How many Muslims or how many sisters that get attached to them, how many people they gonna corrupt from now to 20 years from now? They might corrupt some people. People be around them 6 months, a year. They might corrupt them, and then them people go their own little way. And then they corrupt some more people. Islam too beautiful for that. So like I say, man, I'm not trying to offend nobody. I'm just keeping it real. And that was a main advice for some of these husbands, man. You want an Islamic household, not a Islamic household, man. Because the goal is to get to Jannah. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. You know what I'm saying? And of course, I'm not saying that like the sister's perfect or like I'm perfect. We all have flaws, but not working on the flaws, sweeping them under the rug. Oh, it's cool. Allah know our heart. All this other stuff. They're not going to be legitimate excuses. So, So again, man, my apologies. And like some of the classes and stuff, I haven't been recording and putting them on because you have too many people who want to come in and cause confusions. You know what I'm saying? When you speak about, like, I can be speaking on something that comes from a real Islamic class. The difference between the milah, the religion, and the deen. When you know the Arabic and you read in the Quran, you will see deen and you will see milah. There's a difference between them. And then you have people who will hit me up, hit the thumbs down. They don't like it. But this is real Islam. This is hadiths. This is Quran ayats. But because you haven't heard this or go against this black version of Islam and this Arab and some of this other stuff, don't get me wrong. There's other races of people that have pride. Some people feel like because we Arab, the religion is ours. We know that. We know it's some foreigners who feel like this way and this and that the religion is theirs. But we doing the exact same thing while we criticizing them. That type of stuff make people a hypocrite. But the thing is, they be doing real stuff from the deen that we call it culture. We do stuff that ain't even really from our culture, except for the culture of ignorance, and then we call it Islam. And it's not working for us. It's not working for us. You understand? Yeah, you got a lot of people accepting Islam because our fitra is resonating with the truth that's in it, but we're not getting educated enough to where it's changing us the way that it should. Where we're not making a healthy impact on society. Just look at, like I said, a lot of these Muslims that people was looking up to. You have Muslims that look up to Sauce Walker. He all in the club, turned up, big jewelry, diamonds, yeah. All on social media, which I never seen none of it. I'm seeing it now because I'm looking at different interviews about what happened to him and people talking about it, and me knowing him Muslim, and they showing what went on and how he was shot. And so I'm seeing a little clip where they went to see him and his leg wrapped up and he's still bleeding, and he just wallahi. I mean, I been knew he was Muslim from the last incident where I think he was in New York and somebody was trying to rob him, and instead of giving up his jewelry, he fought back, and somebody else, an undercover cop or something, seen the guy trying to rob him, and they ended up killing the guy who was trying to rob him. An undercover cop ended up seeing it and killed the guy, but he hopped on Instagram and social media trying to put the perception out like he killed the guy for trying to rob him, until the whole story came out. So I knew from that incident and the stuff that he was saying that he was Muslim then. And other rap Muslim people, your Dave East and your other Muslim entertainers claiming him as a Muslim brother. You feel what I'm saying? Your Moneybagg Yo's and your Kevin Gates and all of them. So you have people who look up to that, and that's the type of Muslim they want to be. You have Muslims who looked up to Big U and that little extortion stuff and stuff that he was doing. Like I said, it's about what they going to be able to prove. But because he called himself a Muslim, I'm not going to sit around and act like that man wasn't doing the stuff that he's been accused of. As far as the little murder and the stuff, the person he murdered had a Muslim name. Well, some people feel like it's Muslim. You know what I'm saying? Well, Rashan. It may not be, but you never know. That man might have been another Muslim. Even with the same stuff with, like I spoke before, about the Little Dirk, the King Von, the Quando Rondo, the Little Tim. These entertainers, but they was Muslim. They Muslim. Now that they in the feds and, Quando Rondo already got his time, you had other Muslims who looked up to that behavior and want to imitate that. But it's us. We're the men. We're the carriers. We supposed to put that proper deen into the hands of our woman so she could bring it into the household to the children, so that she could educate the children properly. If we're confused, how are we not going to confuse them? And then if we letting kibber in our heart make us egotistical to where we're standing in the way of the education just to continue to cause more confusion, but then we feel some type of way because we having a million problems in our house. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not the only person that speak out on it. We need to clean up, man. But anyway, man, assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. My intentions is not to offend anybody, but like just to put certain things into a perspective, so hopefully that people can understand. Let's say I have a masjid, right? Then there's some new Muslims who's trying to leave the streets. You understand? There's new Muslims who's trying to leave the streets. They're trying to educate themselves in the deen. They're trying to learn Arabic so that they can understand their Quran better. But then it's some other Muslims who come in that don't care about none of that. But they're not trying to leave the streets. They're trying to be even better and more infamous in the streets, gang wise, hustling wise. thugged out wives and everything under the sun. But all of them come to the masjid. Do I not speak about it to try to steer the new brothers who want to leave it alone away? Because there's Muslims in the masjid that don't want to lead that lifestyle, and they trying to glorify it and make it cool. That way they don't look wrong. Do I not talk about it and try to reach the ones that's trying to leave it because they are there? Okay, yeah, y'all gonna get offended. Y'all gonna feel some type of way. But I'm trying to say these ones that's trying to leave this. It's been countless times when I seen brothers be locked up in the penitentiary, had a terrible bit, gang abandoned them, gang may have violated and took advantage of them in prison, gave them violations, whooping them, giving them eye shots, busting them in their eye, things that they can't come home and tell their families, putting them on no talk, and then putting them on security. They gotta sit up and hold shanks and big weapons all hid in their room, and you gotta stand right here with your shank like this, so one of the gang members who got more rank than you can take a dump. You gotta stand out here with shanks and all this while they take showers and use the restroom. You are a flunky. You a jilly. And then they're abandoned. They don't have no money on their books. They done got hit with a little commissary box. So now they indebted. So they doing securities and being the first line of defense. Your cell getting shook up. So then they leave that, and the first thing they want to do is come to the masjid. I want to change my life. And then they walk through the doors of that masjid to get away from that, to get their deen, to really learn, sometimes even be having plans of wanting to go to Egypt. And then by that third Jummah, one of them same Muslims in that masjid put dope in that brother's hands. Give him a dope and a pistol and put him right back out there. And then next thing you know, he locked right back up. The streets didn't call him back. The Muslims in there put him back in the street. But the person who say something about, oh man, you offending brother, you calling people out. No, I'm trying to say these ones who want to get away from that. But they don't know the dangers of you, because they think because you're a Muslim in this masjid on Jummah that everything's supposed to be happy-go-lucky. But then you're going to be the very reason that they get back out there in the streets, because they can't find jobs. They don't have any qualifications. They don't have any skills. And they're having difficulty finding jobs. And they don't have enough Islam, real Islam, to have the type of tawakkul that they need to have. So now they let you convince them to get out there and flip a couple packs just to get themselves together. And then somebody rob them and kill them. Or they kill somebody trying to rob them. Or they get busted, or the feds snatch them up. And all they did was came to the masjid trying to get their life together. If I'm sitting up there and I know the situation and I know my community, do I not talk about this to try to save them because the people involved in that life is going to get offended and feel some type of way? Nah, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to try to reach them because we supposed to stand up for justice. And I'm going to do the same thing on here. I got some new shahadas, man, who turn to me and rely on me. And they actually growing. It started off with a couple of brothers. Then it started off with their girlfriends. And then their girlfriends brought some more sisters. And then they done brought some more brothers. And they relying on me. And I'm telling them, get out there and mix and mingle, because you need to see what's all said. You need to get a feel for all these different versions of Islam out there so you know how to navigate your way through what's correct. And when you come back, I'm going to keep it real right on here in these late night sessions. Am I not going to talk about it? Because it might offend some people that I know personally and some people that I don't know. I'm not going to not talk about it or tell y'all the truth or give you the real and talk about once you and your new Muslim woman get yourself educated, you don't want to confuse your woman, man. Allah gonna hold you accountable for this. We know in the deen we are responsible for our flock. Your wife is a part of your flock. Sister, your husband is a part of your flock. When you understand some of the rights that a husband have over a wife is the way that the wife is going to protect the home and different things when her husband is out of it. See, a lot of us just calculate that, or we put it as she's not going to let anybody in the house, or she's not going to tell where you hiding your pistols or weapons. No, she's going to protect the Islam in the home and make sure the Islam is proper in the home as well. She's going to make sure she's educated. You don't want to be the one to bring the confusion to that. And with y'all being new to Islam, just accepting deen recently, and this is y'all first Ramadan, why am I not going to talk about this stuff and point these things out so y'all know to stay away from it? Just because some people who don't want to leave it alone feel like they shouldn't leave it alone, or because they so caught up in a Islamic offshoot that's a INC with some created, made up literature with Islamic terminology sprinkled throughout it. They just gonna have to be offended. But anyway, man, assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, man. Just receive the message. Just receive the message. You know, I'm not trying to offend nobody. I'm not trying to step on nobody's toes, but myself included. We need to do better and we need to change. We need to start being pillars of society for change, not continuing criminal enterprises and pulling other Muslims into it. That's deening backwards. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.